genuinely shocked to see David Finlay in AEW. Not only because of the familial ties to WWE, but he and the Dogs now make it 16 total signings for this company this year. They certainly have the roster size for a brand split. Could that be on the horizon?
What would you give as your best idea of the strategy this year of being so aggressive with signings?
I think it's resulted in a really fresh show. Like, I think this show in Tony's philosophy, like, might be in the name of the promotion itself. It's all elite wrestling, meaning the best of the best get signed. And therefore, if you're good enough, you will have a spot that will somehow play into somebody who's not necessarily, like, on that level, getting shoved down the card. But I always think, like, he should be looking for the best, right? Regardless of whether or not there's loyalty to somebody who's lower ranking that might not necessarily make the cut anymore. It's given a freshness to the show that we don't have with the main roster necessarily. Well, we do kind of like through NXT talents, but like this is different. Like, the main roster will refresh its lineup through NXT call-ups, but like they'll put them on this ladder that like is kind of slow for ascending. Whereas like guys like, can just come in from the outside into AEW and be presented as like, at least mid, if not like, towards the top. Like look at like Kevin Knight this year, like compared to where he was last year, So I've really enjoyed this sort of fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, I think if you are like a fan of this product and you're just watching it, it's like there's something I think like that is compelling when it's like you're watching this just as a fan itself, you're getting great wrestling, but you're also like, this is like the Hunger Games of pro wrestling companies where it's like, yeah, there's not going to be spots for everyone because everybody is fighting for those big positions. So the ones that get it, like these are the best of the best that you're getting. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that are either not going to be able to break through, or they're not going to get the chances to. And we are going to get a lot of talents that are just, they disappear for a long time. And that's unfortunate for the talent, but it's not like they are giving you a substandard product in their absence either. Like it's like to headline a Dynamite now, like that's kind of a mark of distinction now. It's it's something where I think they look at and it's like every week it's putting together a kick-ass show, and that main event is going to be something that leaves everyone buzzing, or at least that is the attempt of what it is to do. And yeah, I mean, I think it's also like a statement too, like all these talents, like Tony is signing up all these people, and I'm sure that of these 16, I didn't know that was the total number. Yeah, I'm sure WWE had their eyes on a lot of these guys, and Tony is like making a statement just by signing up all of these people. I don't think it necessarily means all of them are going to turn out, and like you just can't get all those people over. But everyone is designed like they're going to serve a role, and it's like we have all these different tiers of talents, and Tony is ready for if there was an injury plague and 30 guys went down, we're still going to be able to present to you an incredible 4 hours every week.
And on that note, like, the topic of the brand split, I'm more for that idea now than I have like over the past several years. I think this company is mature enough for it. Like they might not have necessarily the audience on Collision to like have an equal playing field for the other team, but still like I think that gives people incentive to watch Collision, frankly, if you make the brands balanced enough.
Well, what was one of the smartest moves WWE made in 2016 was they reintroduced the brand split, and suddenly it was like SmackDown was not just like the complimentary show to Raw. It was like two separate shows, and then they landed at SmackDown a Fox deal, and like their option year is 2028. So they have one more year under this, well, basically this year and next year under the deal, and then the option is for 28. And if you're like Collision is like by Collision standards doing really well at the moment, and if you are able to separate this and Collision becomes like a true like 1B to Dynamite's 1A, like then you have like two really solid shows that you in theory are of value to your broadcaster. And like we just don't know how all of this Paramount ownership is, like where AEW falls in. Like it's just too premature to look at where that is. But it would, in theory, like it strengthens Collision if you were to go that route, and they definitely have the infrastructure to do it.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like I predict even if they did do a brand split, it would ultimately end up very much like the WWE version, where just lines would be crossed all the time, and I don't know how much you could really respect it, because in the end, you want to create the best show possible, right? And you want to have like be able to throw in a Tommaso Ciampa onto Dynamite and mix and match with like either show. But I still feel like there's value in at least creating some sort of semblance of some distinction between the two, so that you got to tune in on Saturday if you want to consistently be able to watch this guy versus, you know, watching on Wednesdays and to watch this guy. I think it also offers a level of refreshing for certain people to be able to like be kept on one show, and then they might come back 2 years later on Wednesday consistently. It provides that, you know. So I don't know. Like I'm a proponent for it. I don't know if others may feel the same.
I would this would not be like a brand split. I could see happening in AEW. To me, like if I wanted to really make it effective, I think that would be the time. If I'm Tony Khan and I have faith of somebody else books Collision, and I just do not see him taking that. I do not see him doing that move, but that would be something to me like really interesting if it was like a Danielson with several, like a small
he won't
committee.
even let go of Ring of Honor. I doubt that he would let go of Collision.
But that to me, like that would be a real engaging way to like freshen up your product. But you could also argue that it's
I think you should oversee. I think you want somebody to oversee.
There's the arguments either way, certainly. Yeah. But you know, you're at this point, like it's you could certainly pull it off if you wanted to do it, and I think it'd be very interesting to see a Tony Khan booked brand split when you have the competitor to compare it to.
It makes certain things like the Owen and also like the Continental Classic a bit more interesting too when you have people who don't usually meet, right?
And it would, in theory, improve your pay-per-views because you could do like several, you know, dream matches per year if you keep the rosters separate and you have that one big event that crosses over, or that's like WWE did in the early days where that was the one show where you would get matches from both brands and you could have some interplay as well. There's a lot.
There are negatives to it too, you know, like we should like suggest like, you know, like sequestering essentially like half of your roster to a show that's watched by, what would you assume, half the audience size?
At this point, it's not quite, give or take, yeah.
Okay,
but
like
but the hope would be like this would elevate Collision. That this would be, you know, that would be the hope.
Saturday is difficult though, and like with the way they bounce around that time slot, you're never going to get as many people watching Saturday. So like, is that, you know, like worth it?
Well, Paramount might start putting UFCs on TNT on Saturday nights, so Saturday might not be a problem. I would not be fighting that if I was AEW. Put UFC on TNT. We'll take Thursdays. Mm-hmm. The Post Wrestling Cafe is your one-stop shop for all of the coverage that Post Wrestling has to offer. 2 big rewind-aways this month with WWF Insurrection from May of 2002. This UK-only pay-per-view featured the Raw brand going overseas and ending with the infamous plane ride from hell. Then we're going to take a look at AWA's Super Sunday from April of 1983. A new edition of Talk Can Be Yours, plus MCU Later, Book Club, and coverage of UFC 326, TNA Sacrifice, and of course, XL editions of Rewind to Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown with all the news of the day. Join now at postwrestlingcafe.com.